So this is what a European cross racer looks like when he realizes he's about to do battle through a sprinkler-fed oasis on the other side of the planet. But Telenet Fidea's Thijs Amaronen was definitely not lonely, lined up in a distinctly international field containing the Belgian champ, the US champ, the Dutch champ, the Canadian champ, and way back here, Noosa Finest Yogurt's Alan Krugoff. Like we saw with the women, start not terribly important, but Giant Shimano's Lars van der Haar decided he'd take the whole shot anyway because, as he really did say after the race, he knows the US fans love it. Pack kept together early, most riders electing to run the barriers, but a handful, including Sven Nys and Jeremy Powers, snuck in hops just the same. European riders led most of the first lap, probably still trying to figure out where the mud bogs and rutted dirt off cambers were hiding, but Krugoff took advantage of the confusion to recover from his staging, riding to second wheel and keeping ahead of the growing mob scene a few riders behind him. Amaronen was one of the first to pull threads on that knot of humanity, forging a small gap at the end of lap 1. Boulder Cycle Sports' Sean Milne took a turn as well, but the first real action of the day wasn't really action, just a completely illegal pit from Nys. What's really interesting is that he immediately passed the bottle to Krelon AA Drink teammate Sven Van Toornout, which makes me think Nys did it because, as we'd see after the race, he could totally get away with it. The Belgian champ did decide to do some pedaling the next lap, creating free Van der Haar and Powers rides for anyone strong enough to hold on as they heard the alarm bells and moved up through the pack. But with more than 7 laps remaining, few were willing to pitch in on tempo, much to Nys' chagrin. But hey, at least as Lars van der Haar's little reach out here shows, the feelings in the pack were still very friendly. By 6 laps to go, Amaronen had had enough playing patty cakes and hit out boldly. Response in the pack was mostly looks over the shoulder, but by 5 to go, Sven decided the Belgian telecom provider had gotten enough camera time and shut the move down with astounding rapidity. But no one seemed eager to counter, meaning that Powers could get away with a maybe not so quick stair ride in time to make it to the tea party the lead group decided to throw at the pit exit. Seriously, things were relaxed enough that Giant's Adam Craig could demonstrate the advantages of a pocketed skin suit while making himself $1 in the process. A pack of 17 hung together all of lap 5, the majority of it behind Milne and Van Toornout, and while Craig went out in search of more dollar bill hand-ups on lap 6, the elastic still refused to snap. Finally, at 2 to go, Powers rode some steps. From the top to the bottom, it's slower, but the advantage is that you can apply watts as soon as you're clear, and boy howdy, he did. It called out the big names to play, and Powers looked to be going again when he tangled with Van Toornout, probably innocent, related to the Krelon riders on orthodox drive-side dismount. Probably. Teammate Nys turned screws on a hill towards the end of the lap, and after a look back, Powers answered the call. Van Toornout kept the tempo up through the bell as the favorites crossed the line with fewer than 10 riders for the first time all night. In a draftable course, position is critical. You never want to let the gap open, and Powers does well to sneak around Van Toornout here. But coming into the barriers, he's still just a little far down. He's lined up well, but has to brake check, hopping over much more slowly than Nys. Also, here's a great example of the advantage of staying clipped in. Van der Haar's not too far back on Nys, but the Krelon rider guns it while the Dutch champ is still getting clipped in, and, bye! Van der Haar definitely realizes the danger, but it's too late. Back in the group, a Telenet rider slides out seemingly unprovoked, creating a near-instant gap for Powers, but teammate Quentin Hermans and Van Toornout slowly bring him back. Still, the US champ has little trouble sealing off the podium on the course's final climb, and with just the all-time great and the reigning World Cup champ out in front of him, it's a pretty solid start to the 14-15 season. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.